Hey everyone, my name is Grant Haynes, and I just want to welcome you to my presentation. Today we are looking at Unleashing Virtual Wonders, Explore Beyond the Classroom. So we're looking at virtual field trips. This is a topic that's, I think, still pretty relevant. I know it got pretty big at COVID when travel restrictions were still in place. But even today, especially in like North Carolina, there's sometimes we have budgets that are cut and we don't have the funds available to us to go to locations near us, or sometimes we may have bucket list trips we want to take on our students, across overseas to London or France or something, but there's just no logistical way of doing it. So the virtual field trip option, I think, is still a very viable choice. And so I wanted to present some tools to you today that allow you to have those kind of virtual field trip experiences and ways you can curate things together for them to take a look at. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Our learning goals today are to understand how to create these virtual field trips for students, integrating content and standards into these field trips, and then what resources to use when designing a virtual field trip. We're going to take a look at 3 today. And we also have our ISTE standards listed here as well. If at any point you need the link to the presentation, it's always going to be up here in the top right-hand corner. And it's also on the main page here. So if you wanted to pause it and scan this QR code or type in this bit.ly link, you can do that if you don't already have the presentation open. To introduce myself again, my name is Grant Haynes. I'm an instructional coach in Cleveland County Schools. If you ever need to get in contact with me after we go through this presentation, feel free to reach out via email. I respond to that pretty quickly, or you can reach out to my Twitter handle. We'll skip through the icebreaker since this is just a video recording. And then just taking a look at what we're going to be doing, we're going to look at these 3 resources. At the live session, we would have posters set up for people to work on so that way they can kind of collaborate with each other. But as you explore these resources, I want you to kind of take down notes on your own, notices and wonders that you have. And if you ever have any wonders or questions that you can't figure out on your own, like I said, feel free to reach out to me. In the live version, we would take about 8 minutes or so for each of these. But for the video purposes, feel free to pause and explore as much as you wish. So our 3 resources are Google Arts and Culture, Google Earth, and Google My Maps. All 3 resources have been around for quite some time and are still very valuable and user-friendly for anyone starting out using them. The way we have this website or this slideshow set up, you can click on any of these and hop directly to that section. But you can also explore just by clicking through the presentation. But as you can see, the way this is set up, for each section, we have a website area with articles on how to utilize it in an education setting, videos as well, and then also some activities, some templates, lessons, things of that nature that you can use with your students and to kind of give you some inspiration and some ideas. And so we'll kind of hop into it. Each of these are linked at the top to the specific resource. So looking at Google Arts and Culture, I'll give you a little bit of an overview. So Google Arts and Culture is a kind of a curated website of artifacts, art pieces, pictures, virtual walkthroughs of museums and locations that are already kind of set to different themes, art movements, historical events, and you can just kind of navigate through here and find the specific thing you're looking for. So if you're a history teacher, English teacher, science teacher, there are things here that you can definitely utilize, and there is a lot of resources to check out. So here's examples of the museum walkthroughs that you can do. Works just like Google Street View. You can go through and look through these yourself if you want to, if you don't have students kind of explore on their own. You can also search for specific places. If you go up here to the top, you can type in museums or names of artists or art or works of art. There's a variety of different things here. You can look at collections, you can look at themes, experiments. If you want to look at specific artists or movements or historical events. The historical events are pretty great because you can look if you're covering the let's say, for example, the Victorian era. You can look at artifacts and photos and paintings from that specific era, and they are also linked with information. Some are a little bit more detailed. You can also get really close views of them if you want to, and they're high quality scans. But let's look at the virtual field trip since that's what we are talking about. So looking here, human space flight is an example, one that's linked here. And so this one's a little bit more guided tour. If I scroll through this area, I'm going to move me out of the way here. I actually have information. So like this is about the Mercury space capsule, this pictured right here. But if you notice, I can still move this around and look around if I want to. Or I can just click through and follow the arrows to the next section. And it'll give me the information. So if we're covering the space race, for example, the students can look at these actual images and virtual walkthrough of this area. And like I said, they can move around. So if they wanted to go up the stairs or move around, they have that option. And you can design your lessons around the questions that are posed here or any other information that you see, something that you would normally do when you take your students on an actual field trip to a location. And so that's Google Arts and Culture. Definitely check out these websites and videos for some more inspiration and some ideas, and check out the other Explore area. The next thing we have is Google Earth. Google Earth is a tried but true tool that's been around for quite some time. About 5 or 6 years ago, they actually changed it over to an HTML version. However, you can still download the more professional version if you wanted to get into that. However, for today's purposes, we're just going to cover the HTML one because this works with Chromebooks. And so if we launch Earth, it will pick up where you last visited. But we'll just go ahead and scroll out. And so just a couple of things on here, and there's actually a video linked on how to navigate it, so I won't go into it again here. But you can move around and find anything you need here. If I wanted to create a virtual field trip for my students, all I have to do is click File and do New Drive Project. And then all I have to and give it a title, and I can go ahead and start adding in my information. So let's say I do a North Carolina one. I can hop in, I can scroll around and find things, or I can also just search Earth. So if I wanted to find Charlotte, North Carolina, a title card will come up. It'll give me a general view of it, and then I can actually save that to the project. When I save it, I actually have the option to change things. I can leave it as is, or if I click Update, I can add my own description. I can add media such as images, and I can add multiple images to that. And I can also change around other settings as well. If I don't want to do that, I can leave it as is. So that way when I click on it, well, it looks like it made me have to do that anyway. So we will delete that out. We'll just click on Charlotte again and just click Save to Project and just leave it as that and not touch anything else. But then I can also add other things. So like say I wanted to go to the Charlotte History Museum. You just have to get close enough to actually click on it. Close this out real quick. Charlotte History Museum comes up, gives me links to the Wikipedia page about it, the address, the website to it, and also the phone number. And again, I can save that to the project, which is great because then I can hop around from place to place when I share this with students. And what it looks like on the student side of things, let's say I go on this tour of London. We'll click the tour. And this one has a header page at the beginning of it. I can actually click through this like a slideshow. It'll take me from place to place. Any of these images up here, I can click on for a bigger view of it. And again, if I wanted to, I could customize this information that is here, and I can move from place to place. We also have examples of, or an example lesson that you could do, just doing a landmark exploration. With the use of AI, you can actually create these lessons pretty quickly. So if you're not real sure what to do, just put it in the AI, the list of places you're going, and then just some ideas that you can explore with that. You can also get a little bit more interactive using some of the tools that are available. So for example, if I want to do some MLB stadiums math, so in this case, we'll click on this and I'll show you real quick. You could do this two different ways. So I have a list of baseball parks, stadiums that are around the United States. Here's just a little example assignment. I could have the students just go to Google Earth and just type in and search it. Or if I wanted to, I could also go ahead and have those set up in a tour. But one thing to point out is I don't have access to the tools when I'm in the tour mode. But that is easily fixed. If I click the back arrow up here beside the title of it, I can still get from place to place. And if I need to, let's see, just double click on it. But I also have now these tools. So if I wanted to measure the distance around things, I can do that. And depending on how accurate I am, will also affect my math, but it gives me perimeter and area over here. I can also adjust these if I need to make it a little bit more accurate to the actual park. And those numbers will adjust live over there as well. So it's a great feature for doing a little real world measurements. We also have examples over here for history, for Civil War battles, but you get the idea there for that. If you also want to learn more about how to navigate it or share this with someone on how to navigate the Google Earth, there's also a link up here to another video. These are websites and videos that you can use for that. The next option we have is Google My Maps, and I'm going to close these out so I'm not bogging down my laptop. And again, several articles and videos to look at. One, for example, we have is this road trip activity. And this is already curated by another teacher. And what you do is the students go through here and they work on a particular set of problems. So it's like a math road trip. And there's also a lesson that if you wanted to do this. And it goes also more into that, I believe. Yep, take a road trip with Google My Maps. You can learn more about that. But basically, the students create their own trip across America, solving the problems as they go. A more custom one you can do, say you wanted to map out the actual course in the Grapes of Wrath. You can actually showcase to the students those particular locations. You can put your own little place markers here. Put your information that you want the students to know about. And they can explore it that way. And again, you can have a lesson that goes with this to look through it. If you want to measure things like obesity trends in the cities, again, the best thing about this is we're mapping out these locations. I can drop any place marker I want to. There is a limit to the amount of markers you can put in a particular place. And you can just go through and try these out. Now, this one's a really cool trick about map projections, about how big things actually are. And you can manipulate certain parts of it. So if I wanted to move this around, you can see how the map, even though it's flattened, how it will adjust the size. So you can do some comparisons there if you want to. So just a couple options here. Again, reading through these websites and videos will give you that insight into how to create some of these different lessons. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But what I'd love for you to do is to actually apply some of these things that you read about or watch and see if you can create your own lesson using the resource of your choice, whether it be the arts and culture, My Maps, or Google Earth. And then, unfortunately, you don't have a partner to work with unless you're watching this with someone. But share it on this Padlet. So if you click on this Padlet icon, this will hopefully be filled up with some other example lessons that people have created. And you can see what their lessons are looking like, so we can kind of keep that open for people to check out and explore. And then we won't be able to do the sharing with the speed dating protocol, but that information is there if you would like to use that. But the questions I want you to kind of think about on your own are, besides cost savings, what are the benefits a virtual field trip can provide over the real, or going on the real trip on your own? What challenges do you see with virtual field trips, and what is something new that you learned today? So feel free to kind of debrief on that and think on your own. If you have any questions or need a follow-up with anything, feel free to reach out to me. Just email me at mghaynes@clevelandcountyschools.org. I look forward to hearing from you. I do thank you again for your time today and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.